All right, and we're live. Thanks everyone for tuning in. This is Hoop Scoop, straight from the soul, and today we have a very special guest, Miss Edneisha Curry, who is currently the only female who's coaching men's basketball at the University of Maine throughout all of Division One. And so we want to welcome you today. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
So let's dive in. So tell us a little bit about Miss Edneisha Curry, aka Eddie Curry.
Well, a little bit about me. I graduated from the University of Oregon. Former WNBA player, played for the Sparks in Phoenix and played 8 years in Europe. And then after my journey playing in Europe, I started coaching globally, where I coached in Israel, Vietnam, and China before heading back to the States, where I coached 2 years with the University of Maine women's basketball staff. And after 2 years of that, I transitioned into men's basketball, where I started working with the NBA assistant coaches program and had the opportunity to coach in a draft combine and all the G League showcases, a program like I'm currently still in, but I'm more of a mentor now. I help former WNBA and NBA players transitioning to coaching, and I assist on the technology side. I help them learn all the fast draw, fast scout, sports code, anything that deals with the technology and behind the scenes with coaching. And of course, I'm still heading into my third season coaching at University of Maine for the men's basketball staff.
Awesome, awesome. Tell me a little bit more about the program that you were just speaking of that you help with WNBA players or former WNBA players and NBA players. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that program?
Yeah, it's called the NBA Assistant Coaches Program, and it's a program that all former WNBA and NBA players can reach out to the NBA, and you go through a screening process, and we pick about 10 players each year, and throughout the year, it's a year-long mentorship alongside Garrett Kelly and Butch Carter, who's a former NBA coach with the Toronto Raptors. And it's webinars to lessons. It's a full year-long mentorship. And, along that program, you get opportunities based on how good you are. If you get to coaching a draft NBA draft combine, Portsmouth, G League Elite Showcase, open tryouts, NBA skills academies in the summer. So yeah, that's about it.
Wow, that's pretty amazing that there's opportunities like that for former WNBA players and NBA players. So I know we may have a few that may be watching, so definitely you need to take advantage of that program, especially for former WNBA players if you want to get into. And this is for those that really want to get into the coaching side.
Yeah, coaching. It starts off with coaching because that's just like the kind of the foundation. But a lot of players have started in the program and now have worked in NBA front offices and player development, in the NBA office and on the business sides of teams. So it's a lot of avenues that you can go once you're in the program, and they kind of like, okay, this is an avenue for you, or this is best for you. It's not just coaching.
Gotcha. And you say you guys pick about 10 per year. So how many applicants do you get yearly?
Wow. We get a lot, but we really wean out, the best of the best, based on, experience, based on, if we feel like they can do the work. I mean, because it's a lot of work in regards to the program. Like you're a full-time coach, like we're taking you through scouting reports. You're creating player development plans. I mean, like I may text you Wednesday night and tell you to look at a, Bulls Knicks game. And the next morning, by 12, I expect a scouting report. I mean, we really put players through the real deal when it comes to coaching.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. And you went through this same program yourself?
Yeah, I went through it myself.
Is this kind of what jump started you into switching over to the boys side, or Was it something else that did
No,
it?
this was kind of it. Like, I actually, when I left the University of Maine in 2017 on the women's side, I actually had a job at Jacksonville women's basketball program with Coach Yolette. And about a week into it, my father was ill, and my heart just wasn't in the right place.
Mhm.
And I resigned, left on good terms, and spent the whole year literally teaching. I went back to my roots of teaching. I was teaching health and physical education at Atlanta Classical in Atlanta, and working on the business side of basketball, which kind of helped. I was like an athletic director for all the girls and women's program there. And I was a head coach of the middle school team and the high school team. And it was a break that I think I needed, to kind of just figure out what I really wanted, and what direction I wanted my career to go towards. And it was funny because when I said, I walked away, everybody was like, "Oh my God, like it took you so long. You like, what are you doing? You don't really have a job." But I've always been a person that kind of like, believed in myself and just did what was best for me, not what everybody else thought was best for me. Um, and then during that process, Rusha Brown had sent me an email and said, "Hey, this program will be really good for you." And I literally filled out the application, sent it in to Jabari at the time, and Jabari was like, "You're in. You're a perfect candidate." And that's it. Like, that's how my journey started. And, 1 minute I'm coaching high school, and then 1 minute, everyone's emailing me like, "Is that you coaching in a draft combine? Like, you're in Chicago?" And I'm like, "Yeah," because I never told anybody. So that's kind of how it went. And, because of, how good I was with the tech, and, just the other candidates, that respected my teaching, they brought me on the next year, and the following 3 years after that, going into this season, with the program, just as a teacher and a mentor to, other WNBA and NBA players.
Yeah, that's crazy. I've always been impressed with your knowledge of the game. And it's so crazy because I reached out to you. I want to say it was 2015 when I had just started the Georgia Soul, and I was going to be the owner and the coach. And I'm like, oh God, I hadn't coached in so many years. Like, and I've been following you for so long. And I'm like, I'm going to reach out to Edneisha and see if she's going to respond. And it was crazy respond. I was like, wow, because, growing up, you and I are like 2 years apart. You're 2 years older
Yeah.
than me, but watching you growing up, we were kind of the same age, but just being able to actually reach out to you and you respond. And I was like, wow. And then for you to just kind of provide so much help for me when I was going through that, when I thought I was going to be coaching. And I just want to say thank you for that. But thank God I found the coach, LaRon Friedman. Thank you for saving me, because I did not want to coach. Like, coaching is
You
not for
didn't.
me.
Yeah, you didn't. And I was like, that's what a lot of people don't know about me. Like, I'm an open book. Like, I don't really live by that. Like, I'm gonna not share. I share everything, my libraries, things I've read, resources. If I'm allowed to share it and I'm allowed to give to others, I'm gonna give to others. Phone calls, emails. I really try to respond to everybody, because when I was going through this process, I know what it felt like when I couldn't get a phone call. And sometimes you just need that phone call, and you need that guidance to kind of help you, and just more importantly, just be that ear, or that just foundation to help your confidence, and to keep your confidence, because especially being a woman, and then a Black woman trying to just move up in this industry, it's not always easy. So, I'm always going to be there for us.
Definitely, definitely. And thank you for that. I mean, you just, there's so many people who have knowledge and they just kind of keep it to themselves instead of spreading it. So thank you for spreading it. You're still spreading it. I see on your timeline, and you're, showing plays and things like that. So if somebody's watching that's a coach or aspiring to be a coach, Eddie Curry is who you need to be following because she's putting out the knowledge out there to help you get to the next level, and it's for free. So you
It
definitely want
is.
to follow her. So
You know what? A lot of people do. They're like, why don't you, do this or do that? And, you can have people pay. And I'm like, I have a career that's paying me. I don't need to get paid for serving others. I really don't. So, when I am sharing, I do get the messages like, man, why are you giving that away? I'm like, it's just a play. I
yeah,
mean,
definitely.
that's literally it. And, if it sparks somebody else to build a website and find a way to use their gift if they're not coaching to, serve and create income, awesome. I'm all for that too. But, I'm fine with just giving because, I do have a career that's paying me.
That's pretty cool. That's awesome.
I don't need other stuff. I'm like, I don't need any more taxes or anything. It's just some of that stuff is a headache.
Yeah, you're right. All money, sometimes you got to be like, no, I'm good. I'll just do the free things for right now.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, that's too funny. All right, so I got a couple questions. So the first question I have is, so you played about a total of 8 years between the WNBA and overseas professionally. At what point did you say it's time to hang these shoes up? And then what year was that you retired from playing professionally?
Oh, you know what? I started playing with an end game. So I never really wanted to play past 35. So I guess that was, what was it, 2012, 15, 13. I think it was 2013. I might be dating myself. Yeah, 2013. And I just always felt like, I wanted to give back to the game and give more. And when it became a business, when off seasons, I didn't want to work out anymore. I was like, I'm done with this. And I could have continued to play. I could have continued to just have a contract because, sometimes with your reputation and, you just get contracts, just because people know you're reliable and, you're a good person of character. But I was like, I'm cool off this. Like, I was done. Like, I had nothing else to give to the game in that capacity. Nothing.
Definitely understand that. I definitely understand that. All right. So these questions are in no specific order. They may be kind of over the place. We may go here, come back. So the next question is going to be, what has been your biggest struggle or transition from women's basketball over to the men's side?
As far as like the coaching, it hasn't been a transition at all for me. What people don't know about my history is I've been coaching boys and men like literally all my life. And I always say, America, the spotlight just put it on the fact that now you guys know that I'm coaching men. When I was coaching, when I was playing AAU, I was coaching AAU boys programs. I had young boys in the backyard working out with me. Dads, call and say, hey, I want Eddie to work out my son. When I worked internationally in Israel, I coached a men's team over there. I had a leadership development team with all boys from like 15 to 20 years old. I mentored the young men who wanted to be coaches. So they were my assistant coaches and mentoring them. And then in China, I would go to men's practices and, the coaches would have me lead drills and come in as guest coaches. And even when I did it in Vietnam. So it was, the only transition is, the fact that now I got a bullseye on my back and everybody's like, oh, that's the one, and just, the gender issues here, with it, it's always here. I've had to prove myself more, just because, I'm a woman and then I'm a Black woman. So it's like, I got double issues going on here. But as far as the coaching, the guys are unbelievable. Like, I love my guys to death. And they just have respect for my resume. Like, that's one thing that people don't understand. If you have a resume and they know you have knowledge and can teach the game, they honestly don't care. Because if you're not good and you're a woman, they're trashing you. And if you're not good and you're a man, they're trashing you. That's one thing on the men's side. They're like, dude, you trash. Like, but other than that, I mean, it's the same. Like, you know, some guys could shoot, some can't, some need working on their dribbling skills, some have low IQ, some have high, you know, confidence. You know, you got to work with one player, you got to learn how to communicate different. But I mean, that's it. And the fact that, you know, I get my own locker room everywhere we go. So
yeah, that's gotta be pretty sweet right there.
yeah, I don't have to stay in a stinky locker room with them on the road. So I mean, that's a cool thing.
All right. So if anybody's watching, going to the men's side might be where it's at if you're looking for your own locker room.
I literally have my own personal space. I go in there to talk to them and then I go out. But yeah, it's cool.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So since all of this pandemic has hit, how has recruiting changed for you? Or what does recruiting look like now for you?
It actually hasn't changed for us. I mean, what people don't know at Maine, we're the most international team in all of basketball. I mean, we have 11 last season we had 11 different countries on our team. This season we might have 9, I believe. So a lot of our recruiting is based on relationships, based on technology, based on a lot of film watching, because we can't go see a kid in New Zealand every weekend. So it really hasn't changed. And that's why at the start of this pandemic, we were able to bring 7 new kids in right away because, you know, of our recruiting philosophy is, you know, built on relationships a lot and a lot of just watching film. I mean, we could watch 5 or 6 film of a kid and making calls before we even decide, okay, we're going to take an international trip or go watch them at a prep game when they're here.
Wow, gotcha. What are some things when you're recruiting student athletes? What are some things that you specifically look for? If you got a parent that's watching now, you know, they're trying to decide, you know, what school or whatever for their kid, what do you look for in a kid?
I mean, before we even get to that part, we have some non-negotiables and our non-negotiables is character. So we're going to research a lot about, you know, that young man's character, background, and really dive in deep to that story. We really try to get to know them as people first before we even go watch them. And then second thing is grades. I mean, grades are big. I mean, half of our, like 90% of our team was on a roll last year. We had over a 3.5 GPA as a team. So grades are important. At our school, we have, you know, 5 guys that are engineering majors. Everyone else is high business majors. So it's big for us. So if you don't check off those boxes, right, those 2 boxes alone, we're not even watching you. You don't fit us. So, you know, and then when you check off those boxes and then when we go to actually watch you, it's just based on our need. You know, the need could be a shooter. The need could be a leadership, you know, distributing point guard. It could be a defensive specialist. And what parents have to know is your kid could be college ready and could be at a college, does not mean he's college ready for the University of Maine's basketball system. And there are going to be more athletes than there are scholarships. You know, at the Division I level, there are 13 scholarships. That's it. You know, it's not. So it's going to be a lot of players that don't get an opportunity. But it doesn't mean they're good. And I think a lot of parents kind of get stuck on the Division I thing, you know, and don't realize how good Division II is, Division III, NAIA, and JUCO, whatever route, you know, whatever route you have to take to achieve your dream, you have to take that route. And I know that's hard for people to, you know, stomach when they're like, I'm Division I and this guy, you know, or that girl or whatever it may be. You guys, I'm in my third year as a men's basketball coach as a woman. It took me 10 years to get my first Division I women's basketball job. I was told 10 years before that I wasn't good enough. But I decided I was good enough and I just went a different route. And there's nothing wrong with taking different route. My route started internationally. It didn't mean that I wasn't good enough. I just had to figure out a way. And sometimes a lot of parents get discouraged and when they have to change their kids' route, where they have to go to prep school for a year or they have to go to JUCO or whatever. But I think it's so important that you really focus on those two boxes in grades. Grades and SATs are very important, no matter what route you go, because you can go to JUCO and be a qualifier. If you pass your SATs and things like that, then you can get recruited right away. And now you got 3 years, and things like that, and be a qualifier in prep and be able to come right out instead of being 2 years. Just things like that are important. But, I would tell parents, if whatever your child's journey is, just embrace it. Don't get so caught up in they have to be here right away, because I didn't make history right away. It took a long journey, a lot of ups and downs to get here. But, if it's meant for you and it's God's purpose for your life, you'll get there.
Gotcha. With everything going on, if a kid wanted to send in a highlight film, or what are you looking for? Are you looking for a highlight? Are you looking for a full length film? What are you specifically looking at if someone was interested?
I mean, the proper thing is just to send a email, introductory email, and just make sure you have your grades on there, your SAT scores. Send a highlight tape and a full game film. I mean, the highlight tape is kind of the teaser. And then another thing that a lot of people don't realize, and it's a huge, just like, watch the music on your highlight tapes.
Right.
I have seen so many highlight tapes I can't even get through because it's just too much. It's like, I've looked at highlight tapes and the music is just like killing women in a negative way. I'm like, okay, next, like, I'm just going right to. And a lot of coaches, you just remember you have like one time to impress somebody. That's it. So just make sure, a lot of people make mistakes sending group messages, like, and CCing everyone. I'm not a man. So if you send me an email and you say, "Sir," I'm deleting you. I'm just telling you the truth. You gotta know, like, if you're sending a message to me and you're calling me sir, then no, it's a group message. Delete. Next. These are all mistakes that so many people do. And I just laugh at them because I get them all the time. And I'm sorry, I'm not looking at them, spelling a coach's name wrong. Like, take your time and really make it personal, and there's been tapes that I've gotten and I'm like, we don't need this guy. We don't have a scholarship, but he's actually pretty good. And I forward them along to other coaches and other in my coaching tree of friends that are looking, for players. We do that.
Gotcha. Wow. Yeah. Name wrong, sir, ma'am. If you're sending something to a coach or anyone, you need to know who you're sending to and make sure you're addressing them in the correct way. That's just, come on, guys. I can only imagine how many times that's happened.
Oh my God. I get so many sir. I'm like, really? Come on now. Okay. The first year. Okay. This is my third season now, you guys. Come on.
Wow. All right. So I do have another question. It says, it seems like Twitter is an important communication tool used in recruiting. How important is it for student athletes who want to be recruited to be active on Twitter? Is that important?
No, not really. I think social media is good to be active on social media, just because it shows your personality. just make sure that your social media is clean. Just make sure that, you realize that every time you hit send, you're showing the world your brand. So you got to make sure that that brand is something that is not going to hurt you. But I mean, I get messages all the time from kids on Twitter. I can't even keep up with them. I appreciate them. I can't keep up with all of them, because, at this time, we don't even have any scholarships available, but I do look through them, especially when it's like, the 2021 kids, 2022. And, as soon as I see their name, I will go through their Twitter first and like go down. Okay, what are they doing? What are they about? Kind of get it, just, kind of Google their name. We do all of that. But I mean, it's just social media for me, personally, is just an access into who you are. It's so, if you do community work or you're in a church, whatever you're doing, make sure you put that stuff on your social media too, not just basketball. I think all of that stuff is, really important to put things on there with your family. All of that stuff is good.
And how much do you deep dive into like the parents' backgrounds, the parents' social media, things like that when you're looking at recruiting kids?
I don't really pay attention to the parents. I mean, because, I'm not a parent, so I can't judge a parent because I don't want to, parents to judge me. They're not a coach. So I stay away from judging, a parent's love and passion for their kid. I've never, had the experience of dealing with difficult parents. And I just think that goes back to, you recruiting and understanding the character of the kid. The character of the kid is who the parent is. They go hand in hand, but I mean, if I'm at a recruiting evaluation, I'm probably not recruiting a kid with the parent is swearing at the refs and going crazy. I mean, that's just a little too much for me, but I've never had to deal with that. But I stay away from trying to deep dive in a parent, especially because I'm not coaching them. I'm aware, if people send stuff, but I mean, I'm pretty much focused on, the kid and realizing, that's our relationship for the most part.
Right. I see a lot of rankings and all of this. It starts like really early, like seventh grade ranking, sixth grade. Like, when do you really start looking at these kids? Is it that early?
No, we don't. I mean, other schools are different. We don't even start going to see a kid until the 11th grade. I mean, it's pointless. I mean, you can't, we don't offer kids either. You're not ever going to see University of Maine and go to verbal commits and see 9 offers from a kid, or, we just don't do that. Recruiting is very personal to us. It's really a personal relationship. It's a bond. And we're very selective. So when we bring you into our family and you come on campus, that's when we decide, okay, you've met us, you've met the players, they have a vibe for you, the AD, the academic people, they really like you, and we really feel like you can be a part of your family. That's when we say, hey, that's when my head coach will be like, okay, we're going to offer this kid. And we literally give them a time. Like, we don't give them time to like, okay, we're going to offer you, say we want you, and then you're going to put it online and then we got to wait. No, that doesn't work for us. Because if you look long enough, you're going to find something better. That's just life.
Right. That's true.
And we want young men who, when we extend that love and that commitment, that they're like, okay, this is my school. I don't need to go anywhere else. I don't have to go looking for something better.
Right. I know things have changed with recruiting. How many official visits do the kids get now?
Still get 5.
They still do. Okay. So you get 5 official visits. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, that's good to know. I do have a question from a parent. Okay. How early is too early to start reaching out to coaches? If you're 7th grade, 8th grade, is that too early to start reaching out?
I think first of all, we can't give you a scholarship, in the 7th grade. I mean, only thing we can do is offer you. Um, I, I'm not a fan of that. I just really am not a fan of it. I mean, trust me, I know who I want. I can see who I want. When I get emails from, rankings of 5th and 6th grader, I almost giggle. I'm like, dude, he's not even done growing. I mean, he can, like, he hasn't even taken algebra 1 or algebra 2. Like, dude, like, what's going on? Like, and I think when I see that, it's just this crazy pressure to want to be ranked in this. I was never ranked ever in my life. I've never been on one ranking at all. I didn't start playing basketball until, when did I play? I started playing AAU basketball, really elite AAU basketball in the 10th grade. I always played high school ball, and, if you're good, trust me, we know, and we'll find you. I think around the 9th grade is good enough, because I start seeing 7th grade. I really am not looking at. I can't do anything with you. I can't even really watch you. Like, I'm not going to 7th grade tournaments. I'm not going to 8th grade tournaments. I really am not. 9th grade, it's usually a select few that are elite at that level. Everybody else is, in my opinion, is the same. They either can dribble, can't shoot, can't dribble, and have no clue about basketball. They're either athletic or not athletic. That's literally about it. So for me, I'm watching people's growth and maturation, especially when it comes to, basketball IQ and just their mental growth.
Right, absolutely makes sense. And even still, in 7th or 8th grade, a coach, even like you said, may offer you, but that coach may not even be there in 2 years, 3 years, let alone 5 years from when you graduate. So
Yep.
I think the thing is, to continue to focus on the things to get better on the court, off the court, in your academics, and focusing on what you want to do in life, whether it's, with basketball, without basketball. And, I think everything else will kind of follow. So, let me see. I have a few more. Okay. Okay.
Is that your baby in the background?
Can you hear? Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, she's downstairs. She's loud. Um, can you talk a little bit about boys who may be late bloomers, and how they can get exposure?
I'll use a personal. My brother's going to be a late bloomer, extremely late bloomer. Did not play high school ball last year. Spent the majority of his time just working on his fundamentals, and the pandemic has actually helped him because he's gotten this big sister here in California. And I get to train him every day, and work on the fundamentals and really build his foundation up, and just seeing his maturation from the beginning of the summer, not even the summer, the beginning of this pandemic in March to now. We were laughing the other day, looking at old iPod videos of him, and to now, he was like, Lord, I was trash. And the beauty of that is everyone's journey is different. And if you fall in love with the process and you keep working and you keep working, you get better. I mean, I was showing him videos of me in high school, and he was like, dang, you were tiny. Like, I was like 4'10" and maybe 85 pounds. And my senior year, I might have been, 5'3" and 100 pounds. And I got a Division I scholarship, and I continue to grow, thank God, my freshman year. And I had to get bigger, of course. But everybody's process is different. And I think it's just embracing that and not, I always tell my brother, don't look to the right, don't look to the left, and don't look behind you. You got to really put blinders on when it comes to success in anything in life. If you have a goal and dream, you know, you have to focus on that goal and dream. And if you're looking at what he looks like or what she looks like, you get distracted, and you get distracted and you lose confidence because you're always comparing yourself to the next person. Late bloomers, go to camps, work on your fundamentals every day, call your coaches, you know, do all the little things. Like, just you, when you're a late bloomer, because I was a late bloomer too, you have to work twice as hard, you know. You got to shoot more. You can't just do what the players that, you know, are on the list or whatever they are. And I'm gonna just be honest, when it comes to rankings and the so-called elite, there are 351 Division I teams that have a roster of 13 to 16 players, 13 scholarship players, walk-ons, recruited walk-ons, whatever it may be. Not all those players are ranked. So please do not get caught up in rankings and where you are now. Life is about growth. And if you focus on that growth and keep working every day, you will get better. But if you're focused on, you know, everybody else, you're not going to get better. And I think that's a huge problem with looking at the rankings and things like that. Because if you look at half of Division I mean, if there's, what do you call it? I don't even know, the ESPN 100. If they're ranking 100 kids, that's one conference, you guys. That's one basketball conference. You know, we have 9 teams in our conference, and it's 13 to 16 players. That's just one conference. There's still 340 other teams. You know, I mean, life is about perspective. And I think a lot of kids and a lot of parents lose their perspective in these rankings because, you know, it's on social media, it's in your face. Like, you know, if you're not on these lists, you can't achieve your dreams. And that's BS.
I'm glad you said that. Say that again. Somebody need to hear. Somebody say it for the kid in the back. Say it for them in the back. Come on. Because, like, that is real. They're so focused on where I rank, you know, where I am. And, like, it's crazy.
I mean, look, like I said, it's 351. And look, and I'm telling you, it's 351 Division I. I'm not even talking about Division II, Division III, NAIA. It's so many good basketball programs. And also, stop being narrow-minded. There is nothing wrong if there is I know a lot of great Division II programs. I know some great Division II programs who can beat Division I programs that reach out to kids, and kids do not take the opportunity. Like, do not get caught up in numbers. It's the same thing. Rankings have nothing to do with your success. They have nothing to do with Division I. Doesn't mean if your goal is to be a pro, WNBA, NBA, you're going to make it. No. I know plenty of, when I graduated from Oregon, and it was the Pac-10 at that time, out of every team, only 3 people made it to the WNBA that year that I graduated. That's it. And only 1 ended up on a roster. Like, dude, like, go where you are wanted. That's a goal anywhere in life. Job, relationship, go where you are wanted. It'll be the best experience of your life.
Absolutely. Man, that's some good advice there. I hope they taking notes. Hopefully somebody will go back this evening and take a look at this, but this is some good information. All right. My next question is, how are players' approach to the game different for the college game to the WNBA? Now that question was from Sean.
The approach, I mean, pro, you just know it's more like a business. You don't have class anymore. I mean, literally, your life is ball. It's no study hall. It's no 10 hours of school. Like, You get your itinerary, you see your coach at practice, and that's it, you know. So the difference is just business wise. 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever your session is for work. You go to work every day. And I actually enjoy being a pro because I was like, man, like I just get to hoop every day. This is like my job. Like I go in the gym, I work with my strength coach, you know, I watch video with my position coach and, you know, go to practice. I don't really have to worry about managing, you know, trying to get better as a basketball player and be a great student and all those other things. It helped me, but that's really the difference.
Gotcha. Now, we have some parents on here watching. What do you say to a parent who never played college ball, not really sure, you know, how to help their kid decide on colleges? What advice do you give them as far as what do they should look for when they're choosing a program for their kid, choosing a school, or helping their kid decide like what's best for them?
I mean, just be a parent. I mean, my parents never, you know, went to college and played college ball or anything. I mean, I think a part of that process is going with your gut. You know what's good for your son. You know what's good for your daughter. You know him or her better than anybody else. And you have to look for that comfort, you know, in a program. You know, you've had those talks of what direction you want your son and your daughter to go when ball is over. So that's what you're looking for, you know, academic wise, life wise, you know, you always, I think, most parents need to ask the question is, if my son or daughter got hurt and they couldn't dribble the ball anymore, what would their life be like if they stayed at this school? That's important. You know, what's the connection to alumni and jobs and things? This is a life investment, and that's how you have to go into it. You got to go into it, you know, more business minded, but go with your gut. I mean, and reach out to people that have like-minded interests in the well-being of your kids' life after basketball, not just basketball, life after basketball. That will guide you into the right decision, because I think a lot of parents depend on people and they make that basketball decision, and everything is based on basketball, and kids go places where, you know, they're not mentally in a positive space, you know, not on the court, off the court, which when your kid is not in a good mental space, it hurts them, you know, and it makes them want to transfer. It makes them hard to be coachable and things like that because they're just not happy. So that's very important.
Good. That's some good information. I think we are.
I mean, you brought me on here to give you good information. What'd you expect? Come on now.
I mean, it's some real good information. I hope they're taking notes and writing this stuff down, going back to look at it later. All right. So, what's some advice that you would give a female who's looking to transition over to the men's side? What advice would you give them?
Oh, I don't even know. I don't know. I mean, do it because you really want to do it. You know, do it because it's your passion. You know, don't do it because it's a trend or it's necessarily an opportunity, you know, because you won't like it. Just like anything else. Be ready to fight. Because like I tell people, you know, being one of 1,404, it's not easy. You know, it comes with days of ups and downs. It's every time I'm out there, I know I'm representing all of you, all of the women, young and old, who aspire to, you know, be me. And that comes with a heavy load and heavy price. So if you want to transition, make sure it's something that you want to carry. and not just, oh, let me try it out, because it's not an easy transition. It's not something that you can just be like, oh, even though it's the same drills, it's the same skills, it's the same game, you know, we live in a world where it's a shame that gender is put before skill, but that's the reality of it. Gender will be put before skill, you know, in everything, you know, in quality and in the way we get paid, just in general, you know, our gender is put before our skill sets, and that sucks. But you have to be strong enough to tackle all those things when you're on the side. And, you know, like I tell people, you know, people always ask me, they're like, man, you just say what you want. I'm like, dude, I don't say it just for me. You know, I say it for, you know, all the young girls and women who need the courage and who are thinking like, dude, it ain't that hard to coach over here. It's not like like I had to change how I did a 1-2-2 press or, you know, anything. Recruiting is the same. You're just in a gym full of men. I mean, and isn't that the same on the women's side? You know, we're outnumbered either way it goes. You know, I'm more outnumbered here, but I mean, to me, you know, it's really like being that one girl that is allowed to play pickup with the guys at park, and then, you know, you gotta go and get on the court and be like, dude, I am about to show you. That's literally what it's like.
Right. So I know with coaching, I've never coached men. I've only coached women, but I know, coaching women, I'm pretty sure is much different than actually coaching guys. I know girls kind of tend to, I don't know, get attitudes and things like that. Like, what is something like? I know guys don't get attitudes. So, like, how?
Oh my God, gender bias right there. Oh my God, they are terrible. They give attitudes. They are moody. Everything. You got the moody guy who Monday he hype, Tuesday he moody. You got the super hype guy. You got the mellow guy that you like, okay, does he even want to be here? You got it all. You got the guy who shows is super emotional and, you know, coach hates me. Yeah, like he doesn't listen to me. Like it's literally the same exact things. They're just bigger. Like all of them bigger. You know, everyone's like, you know, the guy's side is more athletic. I'm like, dude, I got like 7 guys on our team that can't dunk. So, dude, just chill out with all of that too. Like, it's just funny because you literally go through all the motion. The guy that's like gets mad and has to get kicked out of practice, and then like an assistant coach is like has to go in there and get him, calm him down, come back. The dramatic person that wants to throw his shoes, yeah. It literally, it's funny because everyone always asks that question. I'm like, oh my God, only if they knew. Like, it's just like, you go in a locker room some days and I'm like, okay, who are you today?
Oh, wow. I would have
It's
never
funny.
known.
Oh my God. Oh God, yeah. Moody. They don't want to talk to certain team. Man, I'm not dealing with him today. Like, just all of that. It's just funny. But the thing is, that's again, that goes with the gender bias. Like these things get ignored on the men's side, but on the women's side, they're like highlighted, you know?
Right, definitely.
And it's the same.
That's crazy. Wow, definitely. So we do have a question. It says, when recruiting, how do you handle those aggressive parents who feel their child is the best and they know everything?
I don't really talk to parents. I mean, I don't feel the need to talk to anybody's parent like that, you know, especially, you know, in the evaluation process. I'm not trying to communicate with a parent like that. And you just got to be honest. If he's not good or she's not good enough, just tell them. They don't fit our program. And, you know, no matter how many emails you send me, if they don't fit, they don't fit. And that's just, you know, how you got to go about doing the thing. And I think just honesty. Just be honest with, you know, parents. When I do get, you know, emails or whatever, you know, finally I'll just send an email like, look, your son does not fit our system. Point blank, period. And they can take it the way they want, but the key is to be upfront and honest. I don't beat around the bush. I don't try to be like, oh, I'll look at them. If they don't fit, they don't fit, and that's the best way to deal with parents like that.
Gotcha.
In any situation, even on your team, just be upfront and honest with them.
Definitely. All right, I just got a question, a text from a high school coach. It says, what's a good resource students can use in making the right choice other than their high school or AAU coach? How do you weed through what coaches are telling you?
Just research the school. Go on their websites, look at their records. Games are on YouTube. After every game, there's a game recap. You can look at videos of the coaches. Like every time coaches have press conference after games, their recap. You can kind of get the pulse of a coach. During a bad game, during a good game, and call the school. I mean, you can call and call the academic department. Go on unofficial visits. Actually go on unofficial visits. Go to the camps. Like I don't think a lot of players take advantage of like the elite camps. That's a chance that you can work with that staff and kind of get a pulse of the players, because the players will be there, and just do your due diligence like anything else.
Gotcha. Yep, that makes sense. How many? Is there a limit on unofficial visits now? No limit. So yeah,
No limit,
that's something.
because it's on your dime, so you can go as many unofficial visits as you want.
Gotcha. Okay. I think the questions are going to shift a little bit. So someone wants to know a little bit more about the NBA Draft Combine and your G League experience. They wanted to know, how was that experience, and then what role did you play in each of those?
That experience was amazing. Absolutely loved it. I don't know if the combine was by far the best. I mean, I getting to coach alongside my brother Jerry Stackhausen, who at that time was head coach of the Toronto 905, championship coach, and now he's at Vanderbilt. And then Pat Delaney, who is an assistant coach at with Orlando. It was just fun, getting during my draft combine. We had the Kyle Kuzma draft, so it was pretty cool. On my team, I had Collins, who's now at Atlanta, Monty Morris, who's with Denver. I mean, all those guys were on my team, so it was really cool to have them, with me. In the G League, it was the same experience. I think. Okay. I think. Hold on.
Okay.
I was still talking, but so
they can still hear you. Okay,
yeah, they still can hear me. So pandemic technology. All right. So I told them about the combine experience, and another thing with the combine, again, like I got an opportunity to just sit alongside a ton of general managers and build relationships. And the same with, the G League events, coaching alongside G League head coaches and building those relationships, which I didn't mention. Last summer, I got the opportunity. A cool thing about my head coach at Maine, he allows me to leave the program when we're not recruiting and not coaching to learn from from the NBA. So last summer, I spent all of June, the end of June, and all of July with the San Antonio Spurs. I was a guest summer league coach. So I got to experience all the draft workouts, the interviews, and all that good stuff. And, the NBA Summer League. We went from Utah Summer League to Vegas Summer League. So, I mean, it's just a fun experience just to be around a lot of basketball hoop heads and just to learn and just be around a lot of elite athletes is very, very fun. And again, it's just basketball. It's different from college.
That's pretty awesome. Kudos to Coach Barron for allowing you to go and do that, to educate yourself. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I spend the whole off season on professional development. From Portsmouth. I start in April. If it wasn't pandemic, April, 2 weeks in Portsmouth. And then I head on to Chicago and do all the combine events. And then, from combine, I go to summer league events and usually end in August. So I do a good back and forth tour between workouts and recruiting, going back and forth between all of that. But yeah, it's nice to work for someone that, understands, my goals and dreams are just to continue to get better. And it's great from the program and great for the guys because, I bring back a lot of stuff that I learned from the NBA as far as technology and just workouts and great ideas for our whole staff. So it's really fun.
Is that kind of where your end state is, if you want to talk about that, becoming or being in the NBA one day?
I don't know. My ultimate goal is I want to be a Division I men's head coach, and being a woman, I know my route might be different. I might have to get the NBA on my resume to prove, that I can do it at, be a head coach at the Division I level. So, I know my name is out there and people respect me. So, whatever, like I said, whatever journey I need to get on, for me, it's all about learning.
I see it. We're going to claim it. I see it. I see it. We're going to claim that one. All right. So the next question is, what is something that you possess, I guess, that stands out in you that has allowed you to climb the ladder?
I don't give a shit.
Oh, wow.
Oh, you guys, hey, she forgot to tell you how real I was. No, I don't I don't care what anyone thinks of me at all. And I think that's just an important quality to have. I mean, because I'm so focused on what I need to do and what I want my legacy to do, what I want to be for my young brother and my family. I can't care, especially being a woman in my field. Somebody always got something to say. Mm-hmm. And if I'm always focused on that and it just drains you. And I've never really cared. And I've always been authentic and honest. I mean, if you guys follow me on Instagram or Twitter, I am going to always be my authentic self. And it may turn some people off. Those are not my people. And I think a lot of people spend more time going and trying to prove to people instead of, like I said at the beginning, go where you want it. Go towards the people who want you, the people who are going to invest in you, the people who are going to feed you, not all the people that are just going to drain you of, I call it my superpower. My superpower is me.
Definitely. You got to protect that mental space. Like you said, go where you want it. If it's messing with my mental capacity, I got to let it go.
Peace.
All right. Let's see. The next question is. Okay. So someone wants to know, on their spare time, how can someone teach themselves or get a grasp of analytics?
Oh. It just depends on what you want to do. I actually work a part of working with my mentor is he's building a site called Analytics for Coaches. And we literally are teaching the simple math of basketball. I've done presentations. I've shared a little of those presentations online. It's really about embracing, when I think of analytics, it's understanding how to analyze what gets to the results and why. You got to understand with stats and numbers, the end result is what you see. 42 field goal percentage on a three. Okay, that's an end result. The real meat of analytics is breaking that 42% down, and if it's negative, if it's good or why, and seeing in between. But it's just wanting to study basic math. That's all it is. And I think everybody can find quantifiable data. And the key is you create what data you need to quantify your success. That's what it's about, and success of the team and success of the player, and just work on that. But it really, analytics starts with film. You have to fall in love with film. Film is the answers. Film is the key to finding and understanding those end results.
Gotcha. All right. That's pretty much it. We got one last question or piece of advice would be, for any female players who are aspiring to play in the WNBA or professionally after college. So any advice you would give to some young ladies watching?
It's difficult. It's hard. I got drafted and I didn't make my first team. I went and played overseas, and then I came back and I made a team. Like I said, own your journey. I mean, you'll hear me hashtag all that time. I'm like, own your journey, own your story. Blinders on, like that horse in a race. They have those blinders there for a reason, because they look to the right, they crash. That's kind of how you have to be with your journey. You got to keep looking forward, and don't get discouraged. I think a lot of young players get discouraged when they don't get told yes the first time. Being told no, or not getting to that microwave result right away, it does not mean you're not good enough. I think that's a huge mistake in general from people. The word no does not mean you're not good enough. Yeah, you're just true. Right there. That's not your yes. And just embrace, if you really want to get to your yes, you'll do whatever it takes to get to that yes. If that's going overseas and taking a low paying job, if that's going overseas and taking a job where, you got to coach a team, a younger team, and play, whatever you have to do to get to your dream, you have to embrace that journey. I think when people don't get the glory, they get discouraged and they become bitter, and they start looking at other people. Well, I scored 40 points against her in college and I murdered her. Like, dude, that don't matter. It's really about you embracing your journey and deciding what you want for your life. And that's one thing, when you want to be a pro and you want to be a professional, it's really about you.
Yeah, totally agree. That's some good advice. I've seen so many young ladies who have, either gone to the combines at the Final Four and, not gotten the result they wanted, or didn't get picked up in the, the WNBA draft. They were supposed to get picked up and literally just kind of like stop playing ball. Like, are you serious? Like, you've got a gift that so many people wish they had. And, especially a lot of these kids that go to these larger universities, you have these opportunities. Like you said, you might have to go and play a couple years overseas and then come back to the WNBA, whatever it takes. But like, don't give up just because, you got told no one time, or, you're used to being the starter or all of that. But just, that's a conversation we could talk all day.
Being a pro is a numbers game. Again, It's not enough roster spots for the players. Just like the NBA. We got over 300 and something players who decided that they're going to go for the NBA for how many spots?
Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean, it's going to be 200 and this is just in the U. Like, it's going to be 250 guys who are not going to be drafted. That's just the reality of it, you know. And I don't think a lot of, you know, players when they are going pro, men or women, understand the numbers of that and understand the roster makeup and understand that, like, there are people that are already making rosters and have more experience than you that are always going to have the upper hand professionally, unless you're just that rookie. And it's not many rookies that are that rookie, you know, on the men's side or the women's side. I mean, like, after the draft, you know, half of you guys don't even know who they are.
Right.
I'm just giving it to you real. So, you know, don't get discouraged about, you know, that. I mean, the glory, like I said, people fall in love with the glitz and glams too much. And I absolutely love Europe and playing over there. And I really benefited from it. You know, it's a reason why, you know, given my resume, I can coach in any country around the world, you know, and why I got so many global opportunities to coach because, you know, of my experience playing internationally.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. Coach Eddie, I thank you for your time. Can you tell everyone how they can reach you on Twitter, IG, Facebook?
Facebook is Edneisha Curry, at Edneisha Curry. IG is at Coach Edneisha Curry. Twitter is at Edneisha Curry. And if you want to email me, edneishacurry@gmail.com.
Yep. And if you don't have this, we can always play it back, or you can reach out to me and I'll give you her email address. Coach, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for breaking barriers and being that woman that, you know, not only African-American women can look up to, but minorities, young girls, you know, any woman that's aspiring to be in the position that you're in. And I just want to say thank you for the knowledge that you continue to empower on your social media accounts. And just thank you for being a guest on here today.
Anytime. You guys, everybody be safe and see you soon.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
Bye.